Welcome to Faith in the Journey, a podcast that shares stories of unwavering faith and personal transformation. You're listening to an episode that follows a path both familiar and forever new, the final hours of Jesus, the walk to the cross, and the surprising dawn of resurrection. This isn't a lecture, it's an invitation to stand at the edges of that story, feel its weight, and consider how fortunate we are to have such a Savior. First, imagine the setting. The city is restless. Faces you know are turned away or searching. In a quiet upper room, there is an intimacy that will soon fracture. Jesus eats with friends, shares bread and wine, and speaks of a new kind of presence, a promise that will outlast a night of betrayal. He washes feet, not as a ruler would, but as one who came to serve. In those small acts, you see the heart of his mission, love that stoops, love that chooses the low place. Night falls, the garden becomes a stage for sorrow and resolve. In Gethsemane, prayer pours out, a human heart feeling the weight of what is coming, and a will aligned to the Father's purpose. The disciples sleep while their teacher wrestles with destiny. Then the arrest, a kiss that becomes a sign of loss, the clatter of hurried feet, the hush of accusation. Power and fear begin to shape events, and the path to the cross is set. The trials that follow feel like a courtroom of shadows, false witnesses, shifting accusations, a crowd urged to choose. Peter's denial cuts the air 3 times, and the pain of human failure echoes loudly. Yet through all this, Jesus remains steady. He does not call down angels. He faces the fury and the mockery with a quiet dignity that draws attention not to his rights, but to the purposes that will unfold. The walk to the cross is slow and laden. Simon of Cyrene is pressed into service, a stranger who becomes part of the burden-bearing. Soldiers sneer. A crown of thorns is fashioned and pressed down. There is a public stripping away of dignity and a private bearing of sin. Nails driven into flesh, an appallingly human detail that forces us to reckon with the cost of redemption. On the cross, Jesus speaks words that are both mercy and surrender, forgiveness for those who do not know what they do, care for a beloved friend, and a final cry that sounds like both departure and victory. Then the tomb, a stone rolled, a watch set, grief sealed. For those who loved him, hope seems buried. The Sabbath passes in a heavy silence, heart shuddered against what seems like defeat. But the story refuses to end in darkness. At dawn on the first day of the week, the scene changes. Women come to tend what they loved and find an empty tomb. Confusion gives way to wonder. Messengers, angels, announce what reason alone could not expect. He is risen. The grave could not hold him. The bonds of death are broken. Encounters follow. A gardener on a dawn walk. Fishermen startled by a familiar voice. A friend wounded changed into witness. The resurrection is not an abstract doctrine, but a series of personal meetings that transform fear into proclamation. Pause with me for a moment. Consider the contrast that runs like a seam through this story. Suffering and service, rejection and forgiveness, death and life. Each detail points to a single truth, that love went all the way. To say we are fortunate to have such a Savior is not cheap sentiment. It is the recognition that someone voluntarily bore what we could not bear, that mercy met our deepest need, and that a defeat that looked final was turned into the source of hope. How does that change you? For some, it reshapes guilt into gratitude. For others, it reframes suffering, not as meaningless pain, but as something entered into by one who understands. For all of us, it opens the possibility that no ending is the last word. The resurrection invites you to live differently, with courage and sorrow, with forgiveness toward those who hurt you, and with confidence that love can outlast even death. Let me close with a brief invitation. Find a quiet place this week. 5 minutes is enough. Imagine walking those streets, sitting in that upper room, standing at the tomb. Breathe, listen, and ask what this journey means for you today. Are there burdens you need to lay down? People you need to forgive? Ways to serve without counting the cost? Let the memory of that walk to the cross and the dawn that followed shape your steps. Thank you for joining Faith in the Journey. If this episode moved you, take a moment to reflect, and if you wish, share it with someone who needs hope. Until next time, may the grace that met us on the road to the cross guide each step of your journey.